Welcome to Hidden in History.
Ah, the Vikings. Fearsome warriors, fearless explorers, and legendary raiders. But there's more to them than horned helmets and longships. The real Norse world was full of clever inventions, powerful women, and unexpected truths. Here are 10 surprising facts about the Vikings that go way beyond the myths. Fact 1. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. Let's get this out of the way first. Vikings never wore horned helmets. That dramatic image comes from the 1800s, when opera costumes and romantic paintings imagined Norse warriors with horns. In truth, real Viking helmets were practical, rounded, and made of iron. Horns on the battlefield would have been a liability, not a fashion statement. Only one nearly complete Viking helmet has ever been found, and it was horn-free. Fact 2. They were exceptionally clean for their time. Vikings were among the cleanest people in early medieval Europe. Archaeologists have discovered combs, tweezers, razors, and ear cleaners made from bone and antler. They bathed at least once a week, more often than many of their neighbors. In fact, Anglo-Saxon writers mocked them for being so well-groomed, claiming they bathed just to attract women. Cleanliness was not just a habit, it was a cultural value. Fact 3. Viking women had more rights than most. Women in Viking society could own property, run businesses, and even divorce their husbands. If a marriage ended, a woman could reclaim her dowry and return home with her honor intact. Some women held positions of power as priestesses, landowners, or traders, and in Norse sagas, many appear as fierce and decisive characters. While not equaled by modern standards, Viking women had far more autonomy than most of their European counterparts. Fact 4. The word Viking was a verb, not a name. The Norse people didn't actually call themselves Vikings. The word Viking comes from the Old Norse verb to go raiding. Most Norse people were farmers, merchants, or craftsmen. Going on a Viking was something they did during the summer, not who they were all year round. So, calling all Norse people Vikings would be like calling all modern people commuters. Fact 5. Vikings reached North America long before Columbus. On the year 1000, a Viking explorer named Leif Erikson sailed west from Greenland and landed in what is now Newfoundland, Canada. They called the area Vinland, meaning the land of vines or wine. There, they built houses, hunted, and traded with local indigenous peoples. The settlement did not last, but archaeological remains prove the Vikings made it to North America nearly 500 years before Columbus. Fact 6. Their ships were technological masterpieces. Viking longships were sleek, flexible, and fast. They could travel across oceans or glide through shallow rivers, giving the Vikings a massive advantage in mobility. Built from oak and designed with overlapping planks, the ships were both strong and light. This ship design allowed the Vikings to raid, trade, and explore from Russia to North Africa and from Greenland to Baghdad. Fact 7. Vikings had a complex legal system. Despite their brutal reputation, Viking society was governed by laws and public assemblies called things. At the thing, free men could speak, vote, and settle disputes. There were legal codes, punishments, and even fines for things like theft or damage to property. Justice in the Viking world was not just about revenge, it was about balance, restitution, and public agreement. Fact 8. They were passionate poets and storytellers. The Vikings valued words as much as weapons, skalds. Viking poets were respected members of society who composed elaborate verses to celebrate battles, rulers, and gods. They used poetic riddles and vivid metaphors called kennings, like calling the sea a whale road, or a sword, a wound hoe. Their sagas, passed down orally for generations, became the backbone of Norse history and mythology. Fact 9. Viking culture was surprisingly diverse. The Viking world was not isolated. Through trade, conquest, and exploration, the Norse came into contact with cultures from Ireland to the Middle East. They traded goods like amber, furs, and slaves for silver, silk, and spices. Norse artifacts have been found as far as Baghdad, and coins from Arabia have been discovered in Sweden. Viking culture was shaped by this wide web of connection, not just by the cold of Scandinavia. Fact 10. Viking raids help shape modern Europe. The Vikings changed the course of European history. Their raids forced kingdoms to unify, inspired the building of fortresses, and even led to the creation of new states, like Normandy, which literally means land of the Northmen. The descendants of Vikings would go on to shape the British monarchy, influence language, and spread Norse culture throughout Europe. By the end of the 11th century, Viking influence faded, but their legacy had already reshaped the map. So the next time you think of Vikings, don't just picture bearded raiders with axes. Think of poets, shipbuilders, lawmakers, and explorers who traveled farther and thought deeper than most people imagine. Thanks for joining the voyage.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of the next Hidden in History video.